Hi friends, look here. Can you tell what this is? Right, this is a human skeleton. We also call it the skeletal system. Bones. And bones form the skeletal system. Cartilages, muscles and joints are also parts of our skeleton system. Now let's see the functions of our skeletal system. The skeleton acts as the framework that gives shape to our bodies. It protects our internal organs, such as brain, our heart and lungs, which are very soft and sensitive. They cannot survive without the solid protection of our bones. And the skeletal system, along with the muscles, helps us in moving around and moving our body parts to do different things. Other important functions of the skeletal system include production of blood cells in the deep marrow of the larger bones and also store vital minerals such as calcium. Now talking about the bones, do you know how many bones do we have? There are 206 of them. Not all the 206 bones are of the same type. They are all different and perform various functions. Therefore, our skeleton can be divided into different parts based on their functions. There is the skull, the rib cage, the backbone, and the limbs. Let's see their functions. Bones forming the frame of our head are known as the skull. The skull provides protection to the brain. The skull bones are fixed around the brain, forming a safe enclosure around it. Can you move the bones in your skull? No, you can't. Notice that you can only move your lower jaw. It is movable to help you talk and eat. Another important part of the skeleton is the rib cage. The rib cage is like a cage in our chest, which is made of bones called ribs. It protects our heart and lungs. There are 12 pairs of ribs in the rib cage. The third part is the backbone. You can rub your hand through your back to feel your backbone. Our backbone protects our spinal cord. Although it is called the backbone, notice that it is not a single bone, but a series of bones. These bones are called the vertebrae. The last part of the skeletal system are the limbs. Limbs are of two types, hind limbs and forelimbs. The legs form the hind limbs. They are nothing but our legs. And our forelimbs help us hold and pick up things around us. Yes, you guessed it right. Our hands are the forelimbs. Now look at your friends. Can you see their bones? No, bones are not visible from outside. Then how does the doctor find out when there's something wrong with the bones, like a fracture? Well, the doctor looks at our bones in an X-ray. We all know bones are hard and solid organs that cannot bend. Then how can we bend our body parts? Isn't it a mystery? Let's find out how we are able to do this. Look what our friend Rahul is doing here. He's taking out his books and then sitting on that chair. Which body parts does he move and bend? While taking out the books, he bent his elbow and moved his fingers. Then he bent his knees to sit down. Do you think it is possible to move all our body parts the same way? Some parts move only in one direction, like our elbow, and some can't move at all, like our upper jaw. So how does movement happen without bending our bones? Well, different bones are joined together, and the points where they are joined are called joints. We can move various parts of our body because of these joints and the muscles that surround these joints. Now, all the joints are not movable. Some are even fixed, such as the joints in our skull that protect our brain. These fibrous joints, called sutures, are observed only in the skull. Now, move your elbow, your wrist, and your neck. Since joints are of different types, they result in different types of movement. Let's look at the types of joints now. In some joints, one of the bones resembles a ring and the other bone is a long, round one that fits into that ring. The bones are able to rotate around each other in this type of joints. Such joints are called pivot joints. A pivot joint is found between the first two vertebrae of our backbone, where the neck joins the head. Another type of joint is the ball and socket joint. As the name tells us, in a ball and socket joint, the end of one of the bones is like a ball, and the other looks like a cup. The ball fits properly into the cup and can rotate easily in all directions supported by the cup around it. Such bones allow maximum movement to our body. Our hip and shoulder joints are ball and socket joints. It is because of the ball and socket shoulder joints that our arms can freely move in all directions. Look at the movement of the knees and elbows. The movement of these joints is similar to the way a door opens and closes. These types of joints are called hinge joints. Now look at this movement. See how the surface of one bone is gliding over the other. In this joint, only a small movement is possible in all directions. This is known as a gliding joint. Our ankle and wrists have gliding joints. Now let's see how these joints function to help in our movement. Look at this moving arm. The movement takes place due to contraction and expansion of muscles. Muscles work in pairs as they can only pull and not push the bones. So, one muscle contracts to pull the bone, and the other expands to support that movement. For example, when arm is bent, our biceps contract to pull the movable bone, while the triceps expand to support the movement. Can you imagine how life would be if we could not bend our elbows or knees? And wouldn't it be amazing if all joints in the body could be moved in all directions freely? How flexible we will be!